The radio guy, Mike Prince. Welcome to Football Friday. We have a jam-packed show for you on today, and we're going to jump right into it. Of course, our social media handles for Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all at The Mike Prince Show. The YouTube channel is Open Mic Broadcast Network, and our 24-hour dial-in message line, 713-570-6736. And without any further delay, we'll jump right into today's episode. Well, we have some football to start us off toward the weekend. It was UAB taking on Miami, Florida. Miami, Florida appeared to be too much for UAB, winning by the score of 31-14. And on the NFL side of things, Kansas City showing their dominance by handling the Houston Texans by the score of 34-20. And for those who may have watched that game, will realize that that game was nowhere near as close as the score would indicate. Kansas City in full control from beginning to end. And already Houston Texans fans are saying O'Brien must go. We've just gotten started. So we'll keep a pulse on all of that. As we stated, we got a lot to get in store for you on today. We're going to hear from Grambling head football coach Broderick Fobbs in detail on everything that has taken place throughout the entire football season shakeup. And we're going to hear from the local Texas high school football matchups for this Friday night and a whole lot more. So put on your seatbelts, hold tight, and let the games begin. Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union has 13 different locations to better serve you. Locations in Rosenberg, Missouri City, Katy, College Station, Bryan, Brenham, and Waller, Texas. For more information, you can contact them on their toll-free number, 855-391-2149. Or you can send an email to information@bvscu.org. Here are your weekend matchups for high school football within the local area. Columbus victorious over Rice by the score of 31-6 on Thursday night. Friday night, Iola will be at Lovelady. Schnook will be at Thrall. Sealy will be at Somerset. Somerville will be at Leon. Giddings will be at Taylor. Stafford will be at Belleville. East Bernard will be at Bowling. Brazos will be at Burton. Blanco will be at Anderson Shiro. Bay City at Wharton. And Mahia will be at Navasota. Those are your Friday night football matchups for the local area here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
This is Rob Butler with your Southland Report. Not totally unexpected, but the Southland Conference was 0-3 this past week versus FBS opponents. Let's take a look at each game. Last Thursday night, the UAB Blazers exploded for 461 yards of total offense in a 45-35 win over Central Arkansas in front of an announced attendance of over 12,000 at Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama. Central Arkansas plays Arkansas State on September 19th. Jason Bean took over for quarterback Mason Fine and led North Texas to a 57-31 win over Houston Baptist. North Texas rolled up a program record 721 yards of total offense. HBU's quarterback Bailey Zappi was as good as advertised. He threw for 480 yards. Houston Baptist plays at Texas Tech this Saturday. UTEP rallied to beat SFA 24-14 this past Saturday. The Lumberjacks actually had a 14-3 lead in the second quarter, but the Miners didn't give up a point in the final 42 minutes while forcing 2 turnovers and slamming the door shut for the win. SFA plays at UTSA on September 19th. Now this week, Houston Baptist plays at Texas Tech. This revamped Red Raiders secondary will be tested by HBU Zappi. The Huskies let it fly 62 times last week to only 24 rushing attempts. Texas Tech wins this one 56-13 over Houston Baptist. And that's Rob Butler, Open Mic Broadcast Network.
Attention all coaches. Whatever your sport is, we want to tell your story. Dial our 24 hours, 7 days a week message line at 713-570-6736. Leave your game results, team results, and player results on our 24-hour message line, 713-570-6736. Have sports, will travel. The Open Mic Broadcast Network, serving the community through faith and athletics, the voice of student athletics.
Serving the community through faith and athletics, the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
Welcome to the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union Hotline. We have a special guest on the line today, all the way from Louisiana. As a matter of fact, Ruston, Louisiana. None other than the great one himself, Coach Broderick Fobbs. How you doing, sir, and welcome to the show.
Man, it is such an honor and a privilege to be here and to have a chance to speak with you and visit with you. It's been a long time, but I'm excited about it.
Yes, sir. It's been a while. We normally get together on the SWAC Media Day lines, but due to the latest events and everything, we get a chance to do this, and I do thank you for making yourself available, man, and I do value your time, your expertise, and what you bring to the table, not only for G Nation, but for the conference as a whole, and we're just excited to have you on board with us.
Well, thank you so much. I'm from the SWAC conference and born and raised in it, and my whole goal is to help our commissioner and our coaches and presidents and everyone within this league to take our conference to new heights. And I've been very, very pleased with our leadership and what we've been able to accomplish thus far, and even with us being, the first to respond to some type of plan, for this COVID situation and how to play the game and what to do. So just very, very pleased and proud, to be a part of this conference at this time.
Yes, sir. Of course, you are a product of the conference, so things are held close to the vest when it comes to decisions being made, and that's why we had noted from beginning you were one of the more vocal coaches of not one willing to just rush into this thing without full understanding of the science part of it, the medical part of it. We do understand the competition and the potential dollars to be made, but there are some things that come out to be a little bit more valuable than dollars and cents.
Well, I'm just a man that thinks it's so important to not put the wagon, before the horse. The horse comes first. And, if you can't make money, you can't generate money, you can't play football if you don't have life. So, so for me, the most important thing is health, physical health, for not only, our players and kids, but all parties involved. You have coaches who have illnesses and things that they deal with. But then you have administrators and administrative staff members who have to work these football games and these events with crowds around in order to make this thing go forth. So, it's not just about one aspect of it with me. It's about everything, and I just didn't think it was feasible, and I still don't think so. I think that there are so many issues that come up, even if you do have the income and the funding in order to do so. I think life is just more important, and I think it sends a bad message when it comes to our young people, when it comes to what's important.
Absolutely. We're speaking right now with Broderick Fobbs, head football coach of the Grambling State Tigers. And when we speak about the protocol that has been set in place, the guidance from the CDS, the guidance from the NCAA, and then the individual institutions, how are you guys handling the testing part when it comes to your student athletes on the campus, Coach?
Well, we're just like everyone else. We're making sure that, firstly, all of our kids are healthy and safe. The first thing that we did was we created a soft return to campus, which was the start when school started. But then also we had another date, a hard start, where our kids are approaching that now, which will be around the 17th of September. We just wanted to make sure that we trickle our way back into campus because, as you know, everyone coming in at one time, everybody's excited, all kinds of things go on. So we wanted to make sure that we're safe. So we're testing all of our student athletes, and then they have to quarantine for 14 days after the test. And if they have any symptoms, then, of course, they have to stay away. But we're starting our off season now currently, and getting ready to lift weights and do all of those things, but make sure that we follow that protocol, and then we'll be ready to play, this spring.
Okay, now what tests have you guys elected to use? I know there are a couple of variations now. They have the swab test, they have the nose test. Which one are you guys using?
We're doing the swab test from the nose through the nose, and all of our guys, they've gotten tested at home, and then they get another test when they get here, and then like I said, our guys are coming in now here in the next week or so, and they'll get another test, and then we'll start to put them in groups. When it comes to lifting weights, we want to make sure that that whoever your roommates are, you're lifting with those guys, because those are the guys that you're living with. So it's extremely tough, but it's also expensive in order to try to get this done. But the good thing about it is I'm very, very pleased with our approach and what we're doing, because at the end of the day, I represent a conference and a university that's focused on students first, their safety first, and well-being of all employees before anything else.
Yes, sir, and it's a good feeling to be associated with that. As you mentioned earlier, SWAC were one of the conferences to lead with a vision for the spring, and some were skeptical if there will actually be a spring, but that's neither here nor there. The fact that you have a plan in place speaks great volumes of the leadership in place and looking out for that immediate future of our student athletes.
Absolutely, and at the end of the day, our conference is moving, and Dr. McClellan is doing an awesome job. We have made leaps and bounds, jumps from where we've been, in the last couple of years with his leadership. And, when you look at the competitive nature of our league and the talent level in our league and just the excitement around everything that's going on with the addition of the Florida schools, it has been tremendous with what our conference is about to accomplish.
Absolutely. We're once again on the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union Hotline. Our special guest today is none other than Broderick Fobbs, head football coach of the Grambling State Tigers. Now, you just made mention of the addition of the two Florida schools, and we'll hit on them in just a moment. But it trickled a transition from one of the eastern schools to have to come to the west, and nonetheless, it was Alcorn. Now, we know logistically it made sense because of the geographical arrangement for Alcorn, but then I have to be honest with you, Coach, some of the traditionalists in me was hoping that they kept them in the East just for the fact of what they had accomplished. But I do know if there's any institution that has had a marginal grade of success, especially within the last 10 years or so, have been Grambling. I'm pretty sure you welcome them with open arms.
Well, I'm the type of person that welcomes all parties involved. I don't shy away from competition, not one bit. To me, the better the team, the better opportunity for us to play and to show what we're made of. That's the way I've always looked at it. So for us, we're excited in whatever way that they decided to bring anyone to our side of the ball or what have you. Because at the end of the day, you have to be able to beat everyone at some point if you're going to win this league, and ultimately if you're going to win a national championship. So our thought process is not about an easy road. It's not about, a hard road. It's about, winning this conference, because every team you meet is a great team in this league, and you got to come ready to play every week. So it really didn't matter for us, who came over. At the end of the day, all of the teams are competitive, and, they just add one more to our flavor.
Yes, sir, one more to the flavor, and it had already been mentioned, and you don't have to agree with this. I'm just going to do it as an analyst and a fan voice echoer, that the West was always tougher than the East anyway, but it just got a little bit tougher adding Alcorn.
Well, I tell you, it's one of those deals where, I hear people say that all the time. But, we play those teams from the East every year. And at the end of the day, you got to win football games in order to be successful. So for us, we just want to make sure that we compete and do things the right way, and make sure we're doing what we have to do in order to be successful.
Absolutely. And when you talk about doing things the right way, and I don't know if you recall, but I had to give you your acknowledgments You, to me, have done some of the best coaching, and I'm going not knocking your career, Coach, but the last two seasons, the 2018-19 season, to me has been some of the best work that you've put forward. And it wasn't about winning championships, but it was about the adversity that you had to overcome with injuries here and behind and under the radar incidents that were going on with the team. But to have the moxie to hold it together and still put out a productive and competitive product says a lot, not only to you, but the staff that you have that make up the G Nation coaching staff.
Well, I appreciate that so much, because, a lot of times, people don't see that. But I do have to agree with you in the fact that I do believe that, the last 2 years have been some of our best work, as coaches. It's very, very easy, to coach the game when you got Michael Jordan, but when you don't, how do you continue to remain competitive? How do you put your team in the best situation to be successful? And I think we've done that. Of course, the injury bug has hit us. It hit us in 2019, and then in 18, we were kind of hit with some of those APR penalties where we weren't able to practice like we needed to. But we overcame all of that. And I think that says a lot about our staff. It says a lot about our institution. It also says a lot about our players when it comes to making sure that we remain together and stay together in order to make sure that we can continue to be consistent in our approach to the game.
Absolutely. And it also has to speak with understanding the culture of Grambling, you being the native son, and then having the administrative team to have the confidence in you to weather certain storms, where right now it's like an instant gratification world that we're living in, and some could easily pull the trigger and say, we got to get a replacement here. So that speaks volumes, too, to be able to have that wiggle room, if you allow me to put it in that way, to be able to wade through some of these challenges.
Well, absolutely, and that to me, that speaks about our leadership, our president, and our athletic director. They understand that, this game and how it goes and how the ball bounces. It's not a basketball. It doesn't bounce right up, when you bounce it. Sometimes when you bounce it, it rolls the other way and it rolls towards you more times than it should. But that's the game we coach and the game that our players play. But, I am appreciative to be here. I'm appreciative of our leadership and the vision for our university, and then also their trust in myself and my staff. So, that does happen, and, I think it's very difficult to build championship organizations, when you're so quick and so trigger happy when it comes to changing guards. And that's something that I've seen a lot, and I've seen a lot of places where there have been coaches that I felt were, had a chance and really were doing some good work. And for whatever reason, things, were kind of changed and the floor was kind of taken from under them. But, if you really look at the scope of any great program, from Duke to North Carolina or whomever, you'll see longevity, you'll see patience, you'll see durability, and also trust in order to build the type of program that we need to have.
Absolutely. And you know what else, Coach, that you failed to mention? It's going to take a steady flow of financial support. Sometimes people want these coaches to come in and create a miracle situation with 2 fish and 5 loaves and don't want to give them the necessary funding to get over that necessary hump. And I think to whom much is given, much should be required. Now, if you're going to stranglehold someone on the budget side of things, you can't expect them to be dominant every time.
Absolutely, and that's just a fact. It's very, very difficult to be successful if you don't have the necessary tools in place, and if you don't have the funding. That's a given. You can't be what you need to be if you're not planning in the right environment, and that's what it's all about. So, the thing that I'm more impressed with this league and the coaches of this league is the fact that we are asked to do more with less, and I think that speaks to the talent level of our coaching staff. And not only our coaching staff, other coaching staffs within the league. Because if you look across the league, you have some really good football teams that are coached extremely well. They are extremely disciplined, and they are a sight to see. You love to watch them play. only happening because, you have quality coaches that know how to cut corners and rob Peter to pay Paul in order to make sure that we're able to be successful. And I think it makes you more talented and more durable and ready to be, any type of coach when you're able to be successful in those type of environments.
And if now was ever the time where that is showing itself full Monty, is during this COVID time. When you look at some of the budgets that the larger programs have, and it's amazing the money that they're spending on things where you got a guy, that's just another part of his arsenal that he has to do on his day-to-day operational deal. And they're like, you're paying this guy $50,000 just to do tweets and graphics? And they were like,
right.
Well, yeah. Well, man, my OC does that in between teaching the new scheme for the week. So what are you talking about? So you're talking about turning water into wine, and it goes from the top to the bottom, however you want to line them up throughout our beloved conference right here. And that's why we try to do our part to highlight you guys and grind with you guys, because we know what it's like to be in the trenches. Being a former student athlete of this conference as well, I know the blood, sweat, and tears that go to make any type of movement in the right direction, whether you're quote-unquote winning or losing. And not that any other conferences are not doing that, but I just happen to be a product of this conference, which is why I'm proud to be able to do what we do with you guys.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I tell you, everyone was thinking that, our conference was on the low and we were on our way, out. But, one thing about our conference is stand strong, and it's gotten stronger. And you got people that want to be a part of our conference. And now we're stretching from Texas all the way across the South, all the way across to Florida. And that is exciting.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're talking right now with none other than Broderick Fobbs of the Grambling State Tigers. You just made mention to the addition of Bethune-Cookman and FAMU, two great programs coming over from the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. You definitely have a history more or less with FAMU than Bethune-Cookman, but both of these teams are bringing some strong football pedigree to the conference, which is going to make it that much more intense. And I know we're focused on football right now, but when you see this coming in from the east side, and just as you mentioned, you're going to have to play all of them eventually. Some people have gotten premature and say that FAMU would be the favorite coming out of the east, but I hate to say, whoa, Nelly, number one, Bethune-Cookman has had their number 9 out of 10 years, and you still have other institutions that are already established in this, like I said, not so fast. We got some say in this as well.
Well, I tell you, when you really look at it, I love all of the competitive juices that's flowing. I love to hear, the alumni and all of the fans, getting juiced up about it, and it's great. It creates excitement, and it's something that's so important, But at the end of the day, I'm excited at the fact that, we have those schools. It allows me to get more into Florida and Florida recruiting, which is a hotbed of talent. And, if we're playing over there, we're going to be over there. And because I play with a number of student athletes from the Florida area who impacted our program here at Grambling State University. So we've always wanted to expand, our tentacles when it comes to recruiting and playing these games and putting our product out there in these areas, every year, because we will play one or the other every year. We will be in Florida every year. That speaks volumes to me, and then it's also exciting to me because it allows us to recruit, from another area that's considered hotbed of talent.
Absolutely. And if we're going to be truthful about the entire matter, with the history of Grambling State football and the legacy of Eddie Robertson, it is safe to say, assume, or whatever you want to add with that Grambling logistically has been the face of the Southwestern Athletic Conference. And an opportunity to expand that footprint, if you would, has to be an exciting time when it comes to your recruiting.
It does. And at the end of the day, I believe in our program, and coaches and players, we all believe in the mantra of making sure we improve every day. That's always been our focus, is to get better every day. And we believe if you're not getting better, then you're getting worse. You never stay the same. So our focus is always to continue to improve. Wherever we are now, try to be at a different place tomorrow. And, if you do that, well enough over a number of years, when you look back, you'll see that you're a lot farther along than you have been before. And that's really the way we go about our business. And our league is better. Our teams in our conference are better. Our coaching is better. And then I think the play of our players is going through the roof when it comes to our entire conference.
Yes, sir. And speaking of your player production, we know it's no secret that the question mark has been at that leadership position on the offensive side at quarterback. How have you guys addressed that during this off season, and what is that competition looking like as you head toward the spring?
Well, I tell you, we would know more about it, if we would have been able to have a spring season with COVID-19 happening. Of course, we got Jeremy Hickbottom, who's back for his senior year, and he's bigger, stronger, and a lot better than he's been in the past. But he also knows that what we've done at that position hasn't been good enough, and it has to be better in order for us to achieve the goals that we want to achieve. Now we also have Elijah Walker, who's a transfer quarterback from Louisiana Tech by way of Hines Junior College, and he's a big kid that can throw the football but is an athlete. And so we have those two guys there that we feel, have the ability to take us home. But at the end of the day, Hickbottom knows that it has to be better than it's been. And Elijah knows that it has to be better than it's been as well. And it's up to whoever makes that decision by play, up to them.
It's always good when you got competition because competition makes us all better.
It is, it's good to have competition all the time, and it's good to have guys, looking over their shoulders, so to speak, because it makes them an overall better person and football player. But you kind of want to go into the season knowing who your guy is, because now you can sharpen your tools on receiver, quarterback play, and the whole offense knowing who the guy is. So we're a little bit behind, but it's only because of the situation with COVID-19. But at the end of the day, we'll speed things up and get this thing going, and may the best man win.
Right. Now, Coach, sometimes, and you might feel comfortable answering this one or not, but I'm going to ask it anyway, a coach will have in his head who he wants and think that guy should be, and sometimes he'll ride with that person too long because they see that quote-unquote potential. And I've learned about potential. It could be one or two things. This guy is just this close to getting over the hump, or this guy is just this close to cashing it in. And it's always a bad thing when you hear the word potential. But do you think that coaches sometimes get a little bit guilty of leaning on the guy that they might have an inside track on, thinking who they want to see lead that way?
I do think that happens from time to time. But what we try to do is we try to look at the numbers. We try to stay factual and look at the facts and look at what happens on paper and turn a blind eye to what we think and what we also have classification-wise. We chart every throw, during training camp. Whether it's 7-on-7, whether it's 1-on-1, whether it's individual routes. We chart every throw, and we chart for accuracy. We make sure that we see who's getting the offense down the field and putting us in scoring situations, but then also who's not turning the football over. We calculate all of that into our formula and then pretty much go with who's the guy from there. And that's the way we've always done it. And what that does is it puts a concrete picture and it lets our players know who the guy is, and they can't argue it. They can argue it if they want to, but at the end of the day, what's on paper is factual. So
the numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie.
That's really the way we go about it. But then also, there's that air of who the guys want to get behind, and that's important as well too, because at the end of the day, you're only as good as your team and your leadership. And whoever gets excited and spunks the team, then a lot of times that's your leader and that's your guy. But it is hard to find, but once you got one, you got a great one.
Well, it's ironic that you would say that, Coach, because my next leadway was going to talk about the guys who protect them, and that's your offensive line, and the ones who apply pressure on the defensive side, that defensive line. That has had to been probably one of your more consistent values that goes unspoken, that has kept you in a lot of your games these past 2 seasons that we spoke of in particular, as you try to wade your way through the obvious position points.
Absolutely. And you know, it starts up front, you know, on both sides of the ball. You got to be able to whoop people up front defensively, and then offensively you got to do the same. And I think that's something that, you know, we have done a really good job of building. You know, when I talk about O-line and D-line play, I'm talking about building a great offensive line and a great defensive line, because that's essentially what you're doing. You're building it. It is very difficult to find big people that are aggressive, intelligent, and can play the game. And that's a quest that you're always in search of and you're always looking for. So we're very, very pleased with what we have up front. You know, we have one student athlete that will be playing in the Senior Bowl. You know, David Moore, who's a heck of an offensive lineman and one of our better players up front. And I think that speaks volumes for, you know, our team and our players and what we have here in the next couple of years.
Well, Coach, it is always a joy and a pleasure to get a chance to talk some football with you, and we definitely don't take this opportunity for granted. I know that you're extremely busy, and what we're going to do is allow you to have some closing thoughts and comments at this time, sir, and the floor is now yours.
Well, the thing I would say is, you know, I know our fans are a little disappointed, but I think they also understand that it's for a really good cause. It's for the health and safety and wellness of all of our people involved. But the thing also is, you know, Grambling, we're on the move, and we're focused on what's important now, and not only what's important now, but also what's important next. We have buildings going up all over, and our new library, and then also a new athletic facilities and things that we're doing. It's going to be tremendously great, you know, for our program for the future of Grambling. So we're here to stay, and we're looking forward to this progress, and we're looking forward to play major college football here in our conference.
Yes, sir. We're looking forward to it as well. Coach, all the years that I have been involved with SWAC, football, and athletics, you know what is on my bucket list, man, and that is to actually witness a game on the campus of Grambling State University, because me being a Prairie View alumni, whenever we play you guys, it's always at the Cotton Bowl. But I have never witnessed a football game on the campus of Grambling. I'm going to have to get that done before I get out of here, man.
Well, when you come to homecoming. That's the best time to come, and you will have a tremendous time. You will enjoy yourself, and it will be a place that you will definitely want to come back.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to hold you to that. And I tell you what, when I mark the calendar when you're homecoming, if it doesn't conflict with my schedule, don't look up and you see me on your sideline talking about, what you doing, Coach?
And you will be fooled by the time you get to the sideline.
Okay, then. Well, I'm going to hold you to that. Coach, again, thank you so much for joining us. He is Broderick Fobbs of the Grambling State Tigers. You have been joining in with us on the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union hotline. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince, and as always, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.
And welcome back to what I promised you was a jam-packed Football Friday on today. I want to thank you guys for joining in with us. Don't forget to join us on Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, the Carlos Brown Show live right here on the network. Check out Miss Sonia Stamps with She Say Sports, and we'll come back live with you Sunday night, if the Lord says the same, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. The time is far spent, and I must exit stage left. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. As always, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.